Hey guys, this is Solution Podfic, and today we're going to be reading I Didn't Ask to Die by Anita Supervision. This is Chapter 9. A ringing accompanies Clint as he enters the Forest Hills Adoption Center. I'm here, Tony. How's the sound? Flawless, as you'd expect from my technology. Before you ask, the camera is also working as it should be. The finest image you can get. Clint fingers his hearing aid, tempted to turn the man off. Before he gets to it, a brunette woman rises from behind the reception desk. "You must be Mr. Smith," she welcomes him with a smile. "That's me," Clint replies with a smile that mirrors the woman's. He holds out his hand to her. "Pleased to meet you, Miss... Oh, you can call me Diana. Mr. Smith, we appreciate your interest in adopting one of our dogs. During our phone call, you didn't give much information about what you were looking for. If you'll join me in the office, we can discuss your ideas and see which dog will best fit your home." Clint follows the woman who had introduced herself as Diana. The latter holds the door to the hallway open for him, and he smoothly slips past her. As the doors open, there is a chorus of yapping and whining that the archer would have heard loud and clear, even without his hearing aid. As if anticipated, Diana turns towards him with a gentle smile. "Please don't be put off by the noise and all the energy. These dogs have all been waiting a long time for a new home. Every new visit causes their excitement to grow, but this does not mean they will be like this when you take them home. I understand. These are special circumstances." Diana laughs, but lacks mirth. Special circumstances, I guess you could say that. Clint flinches as the clatter of a coffee mug thunders in his right ear. Good God, what a volume! Now I know why Pepper doesn't want dogs. Tony, shut up. Clint had turned away from Diana and is about to cut the connection or put the man on silent. "Mr. Smith, are you all right?" Clint looks over his shoulder. Diana is standing in the hallway with her clipboard in hand. "Yes, excuse me. I need to blow my nose." To make his excuse believable, Clint pulls a handkerchief from his jacket pocket and turns away from the woman. "I cannot concentrate with the non-stop commentary in the back, Tony. You want something from me? Then let me do my job in peace." The man hisses into his tissue. "All right, no need to get mad. Last warning or I'll meet you." "Aye, aye, Katniss, I'll keep quiet." Satisfied with the answer, Clint turns back to Diana. "Thanks for waiting." "No problem. You don't happen to have an animal hair allergy, do you?" "No, it's just the last bit of a stubborn cold my kids brought home from school." Diana's face lights up, and Clint knows he said the right thing. "Oh, you have children?" "Yes, 3 of them." Clint keeps up the small talk on his way to the office. His hands were buried in his pockets, and his eyes roamed over the kennels and the dogs inside. Tony's plan was vague. The question is whether you could even call it a plan. "Tell me, do you have volunteers working here?" Diana stops, and Clint catches up. "Yes, we have a few, but we are more than grateful for them. Our volunteers help us walk the dogs, or they take them out to play." "Can everyone do that?" "We need all the help we can get, but we thoroughly check everyone who wants to work here. Some dogs have had a difficult life and need special attention and someone to care for them, who has a good understanding of dogs." Once in the office, Diana offers Clint a coffee. Half an hour later, the shelter director holds the door open for Clint. "Come on, I'll show you all of our dogs, and then we'll see if we have one that suits your family." After just a few minutes of looking around the facility, Clint realizes the shelter is full. When he shares this thought with Diana, she nods. "That's true. We mainly keep our heads above water with donations, so there's not much money left for advertising. At the moment, the trend towards pedigree dogs is on the rise again. Many people are getting dogs from breeders, meaning that the dogs in the shelters are considered a second choice, or not even considered at all." While Diana is still speaking, the spy notices a movement. 2 kennels away, something red moves behind the fence. Diana continues to talk as she walks ahead, but Clint's attention is drawn towards the kennel they are approaching. Clint glances inconspicuously into the kennel. Tony was right. There he is. Peter Parker. Clint frowns. From everything he had heard from Tony's and Rhodey's stories, what he saw sitting in the kennel was not what he expected from that infamous pain-in-the-ass Tane. The boy looks miserable. Peter Parker is sitting on a thin blanket, which couldn't offer much protection from the cold or the hardness of the concrete floor beneath them. He had pulled the hood of his sweater over his head, but it's not enough to hide a pale face and a few impressive dark circles under his eyes. The boy's gaze is fixed on his lap, or rather on the head that is resting there. Clint's eyes move upwards. The dog the boy is in the kennel with is of a stately size. The brown head with the black ears and black muzzle almost takes up the boy's entire lap, but Peter doesn't seem intimidated by the dog. With almost mechanical movements, Peter strokes the animal's head down to its neck and over its back. The dog has its eyes closed and is lying beside the teenager, deeply relaxed, his enormous chest sinking in deep, rhythmic movements. It would have been too endearing a sight if 2 things had not ruined the wholesome picture. Firstly, there were Peter's eyes. At first glance, the blank stare might suggest that the kid was lost in his thoughts, but Clint knew that wasn't the case. Peter's eyes hadn't drifted off, and his thoughts weren't traveling either. Clint knew that look all too well. He'd seen it countless times before. Peter Parker is grieving. The man watches as Peter's hands never stop stroking the dog. The teen runs his fingers over the caramel color fur until stopping before touching the white bandage wrapped around the dog. A hand on his arms draws Clint's attention back to Diana. The older lady glances at the teenager before looking at Clint in the eye and signaling to follow her. They turn a corner and enter another corridor. That was Peter, one of our volunteers. He walked some of our dogs. Clint nods before turning to Diana. The dog in the kennel didn't look like he could walk. The dog's hind legs had been bandaged up to the hip, and from what Clint had observed, Peter avoided touching them as if he feared his fingers would burst into flames on contact. When Diana's face contorted into a painful expression, Clint knew he had hit a sore spot. That is Lucy, one of our newcomers, a lovely dog. She loves people and would spend the whole day cuddling if she could. But, Clint interjects, the woman puts on a pained smile. Was it that obvious? Pretty much, Clint says with a grin, attempting to lighten the mood. The principal looks down at her clipboard. You're right. Lucy cannot walk. She was involved in an accident, which is one of the reasons she ended up with us. Her owner can no longer look after her. He died in the accident. Lucy broke both her hip bones. She survived the worst of it, but she needs new hip joints to be able to walk correctly. She's being treated, but at the moment, she can only stand or sit for a short time. Diana wipes her eyes with the back of her hand. Sorry, I'm being unprofessional. It's just that she's a wonderful dog, Mr. Smith. We're not a big shelter. And new hip joints and the follow-up treatments cost more than we can afford. And what if she gets adopted? After regaining her composure, Diana puts on her glasses. Her slightly reddened eyes meet Clint's. Not many people take in sick or injured animals, Mr. Smith. Not to mention the cost of the surgery. Lucy is already 8. She's a mongrel. There is no clear breed identification. She's over 27.5 inches tall and weighs around 110 pounds. Furthermore, she's previously belonged to a homeless person, no matter how lovely this dog may be. All these criteria make it more than difficult to place her. If we don't find someone to take Lucy in soon, we will be forced to put her to sleep. That's why the teen we saw is so depressed, isn't he? He knows Lucy doesn't have much time left. Without saying a word, Diana beckons Clint to follow her. She takes the man outside and sits down on a bench. Clint sits down next to her and looks at her expectantly. Even without hearing Tony, he knows the man's interest had been piqued by now at the latest. Diana plays with the pen attached to the board before looking up. You're here to adopt a dog. I'm stealing your time. No, not at all. I'd like to hear more about Lucy, the archer asserts. The director gives a most skeptical look, but Clint nods with the most sincere expression he can muster. I must confess, the woman begins slowly, I suspect that Peter knew Lucy before she came to us. Peter furrows his eyebrows. He hadn't expected that. His face must have spoken for itself, because Diana giggles as she looks at him before becoming serious again. I know it sounds crazy, but you have to know. I've been working with animals since I was 20, and I know what a dog looks like when it meets someone again. They remember you. They don't simply forget people. Every time I ask Peter about it, he almost vehemently denies it, but Lucy knows him. Besides, his behavior is conspicuous. Conspicuous? Asks Clint, noticing Diana's smirk as she talks about the boy. Yes, conspicuous, Diana repeats. Peter claims to have had nothing to do with Lucy, but he makes time for her every time he visits. He's here to walk the dogs, and thus he has nothing to do with Lucy as she can't go outside. But for some reason, this boy finds her and decides to devote half an hour of his day to a dog he doesn't know. Maybe he loves animals and has taken a liking to her. I suspected that at first, but the more you think about it, the crazier the coincidences become. You have to know Lucy was brought in to us mid-August. And less than 2 days later, this boy from Queens contacts us and wants to volunteer for a shelter. Diana turns and looks directly at Clint. And you know, what is the most absurd part? Peter actually claims he will pay for Lucy's operation. I told him he could forget it, but he talked about it several more times until I told him I didn't want to hear more about it. That's as far as it goes, minus sending us money. That's an impressive string of coincidences. Diana laughs. You can say that again. Do you get why I doubt Peter's denial of knowing Lucy? It certainly does raise questions, Clint confirms with a smile. Definitely. Who knows, maybe Lucy saved Peter's life too. At Clint's questioning look, the director explains what she means. You must know, Lucy and her owner are real heroes. Heroes? Echoes Clint with growing interest. Exactly. They all deserve more appreciation for saving that baby. But who cares about a homeless man and his dog saving a life? Without Spiderman, it probably wouldn't have even made it to the news. Spiderman? The whole thing just got much more intriguing. Clint leans forward with interest. You have to tell me the story. Does Lucy and Spiderman have a history together? You can't leave me hanging out without a good explanation. It's a good thing that you're the last appointment for today. Otherwise, we'd have a problem with the schedule, jokes Diana with a laugh, enjoying her client's enthusiasm. Alright then, earlier this summer there was an incident near Central Park. A young mother's stroller brake broke, but she noticed it too late. The stroller rolled towards the intersection. Lucy and her owner were there, and Lucy ran after the baby, barking like crazy. Her owner ran after her and into the crossroad. It was around noon, and you can imagine the traffic. Lucy's owner got a hold of the stroller and was about to pull it off the road when an ambulance on duty pulled up. There would have been a terrible collision if Spiderman hadn't appeared out of nowhere. He intercepted the ambulance at full speed with his bare hands. Sounds like a meeting of heroes. Diana laughs and her smile reaches up to her eyes. You could call it that. Isn't it ironic? Lucy and her owner are saved by a hero who, compared to the Avengers, gets as much credit as a homeless man and a dog saving a baby. Not exactly fair, is it? Agrees Clint. Well, there's nothing we can do about it. Who knows? Maybe we can find a way to do something. Diana shakes her head but tries not to correct Clint. But the doubt is written all over her face. She overplays it by clapping her hands down on her thighs before standing up. What are you saying, Mr. Clint? Are we ready to look at your dream dog? Clint gets up from the bench. He holds out his hand to the director. Let's find a dog that deserves a new home. Alright guys, and that's the end of chapter 9 of I Didn't Ask to Die by I Needed Supervision. I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you next chapter.